Hey man, say man, this is the A-Man Show and I'm back for more content. I really want to make this video because this is one of the most interesting topics I want to talk about because since 2006 the NFL has produced so much defensive line talent and majority of them are either Pro Bowl level players or top 10 or even top 5 defensive players in the NFL. And majority of them are either drafted in the first round and especially in the lottery. For instance, I talked about Myles Garrett a few times of how great he is while mentioning him and why Nick Bosa is overrated video. If y'all want to check it out, the link is in the top right corner. So anyway, since 2010, there have been two defensive ends who were the first overall pick in their draft class. One in 2017 in Myles Garrett, like I mentioned before, he's a bona fide superstar in this league. And another guy I want to touch on in this video, and that's Jadeveon Clowney. Jadeveon Clowney was poised to become the next game-changing pass rusher because of his freakish athleticism and the best player in his draft class, as scouts projected him to be a Mario Williams type player. For those who don't know who Mario Williams is, he was the first overall pick of the Houston Texans back in 2006, and he had a great career in the NFL as he was one of the game's best pass rushers in the 2000s, as he had 5 total seasons of which he recorded double-digit sacks. Based on his tape, it was looking like the case for Clowney because at South Carolina, the dude was an absolute monster, especially in his sophomore year, of which he had 13 sacks and insane 23.5 tackles for loss, and plus that hit against Michigan in that bowl game pretty much solidified himself that he was going number 1 in the 2014 NFL draft. However, that monster that he was in South Carolina didn't really translate to the NFL, as he was one of the most underwhelming players throughout his time at Houston, and now he's not on a team despite him wanting a max deal, even though he doesn't deserve a max deal whatsoever because he has not lived up to expectations, and I'm gonna show you why in this video. Before this video starts, make sure y'all subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content in the future, and make sure y'all click on the notification bell so that way y'all don't miss a video. Anyway, stay tuned to the video.
I paid my dues, now I'm a made man. I call my fame, now I'm a made man. You never see me again. I got the juice, now I'm a made man.
So it's kind of odd seeing how people are not talking about Jadeveon Clowney's career and how he has been a relative disappointment. We can look at his highlights and say, my goodness, man, look at this man. He is making insane plays all across the field. He is a monster. He isn't. During his first year, he's only played 4 games due to a torn lateral meniscus, and he underwent surgery to repair the injury twice because of the second. His injury has not healed properly. But when he has played, he has endured some injuries in the 2015 season, but still played the majority of the games. In the game he had played, he has not played well in these games. And there are some games that he was starting, and there is games that he wasn't, and he was in the sidelines. The most sacks he had in the game, he only had 2 sacks. So based on that, he did not have the great start to his career. And I know that he was still recovering from injuries, but he has played almost the entire season in 2015. And for a first overall pick who's supposed to be a game-changing pass rusher to only have 4.5 sacks, and the guys that was picked after Clowney were Aaron Donald. In his first year, this man was out of the gate an established disruptor when rushing to the quarterback and already a Pro Bowl talent in just his rookie year. And not only him, Mike Evans, Sammy Watkins, Zach Martin, and not last but definitely not least, OBJ. And not all these players produced in their first year, but the following year these other players produced. Khalil Mack, DeMarcus Lawrence, and the list goes on and on. So Clowney was supposed to be a guy that can not only flourish but push some pressure out of JJ Watt. This is a guy who's supposed to have a big impact on a struggling Texans defense, and he did not do that. The Houston Texans in the 2015 and the 2016 seasons were top 10 in defense, all because of JJ Watt, because he is JJ Watt, and Whitney Merciless also. The Texans were still thriving as a defense even when Jadeveon Clowney didn't play as well as expected or not playing at all. And seeing how Clowney was the first overall pick of the 2014 draft class, this draft class that featured 8 to 10 players that are Pro Bowlers, and the majority of them produced at a high level in their first year starting, That does not look good for Clowney. But let's not get carried away with this. Y'all might think that Clowney has been aimless all throughout his time in Houston. No, he wasn't. He did show improvement in the 2016 season as he recorded 6 sacks with 52 combined tackles and with 16 tackles for loss. So Clowney has been really good at stopping the run. That's one of his skills to his game, that his ability to stop the run somewhat translated into the NFL, but he only had 6 sacks. That is not bad, but it's not great nor good because, like I mentioned before, he's supposed to be one of the least best pass rushers, and seeing how he only has 6 sacks, yeah, I need more than that despite him being a Pro Bowler. But that's all that, just a French Pro Bowler, as he sort of met expectations, but not really, as he's supposed to be by far the best player in his draft class. And seeing how his draft mates are dominating and some are putting up historic numbers day in and day out, that says a lot how Jadeveon Clowney's career has been underwhelming, to say the least. Especially when you're considering the postseason, where from the wildcard game to the divisional round that year, he only had 3 tackles and no sacks in these 2 games. That is not good whatsoever, but still, he is still young and he still has room to grow, as he has improved significantly. As in the 2017 season, he got his numbers up to 9.5 sacks with 2 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles, and 59 total tackles with 21 tackles for loss. So yeah, Jadeveon Clowney has responded and shown that potential he had in college, and also he was a Pro Bowler. Since he had a great season, we expected him to follow up and become the elite defender that he can be for this Texan defense, to go to the next level, and not even that, become that game changer we expected him to be. But he did not follow up, as he had a steady decline in his game. As in the 2018 season, he'll be named to his 3rd and final Pro Bowl, as he recorded 9 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 47 tackles with 16 tackles for loss. Since he had a great season, we expected him to follow up and become the elite defender that he can be for this Texan defense, to go to the next level, and not even that, become that game changer we expected him to be. But he did not follow up, as he had a steady decline in his game. As in the 2018 season, he'll be named to his 3rd and final Pro Bowl, as he recorded 9 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 47 tackles with 16 tackles for loss. They will make it to the postseason with 11-5 record, and in the wildcard game, they will later lose against the very poised Andrew Luck and the Colts. Jadeveon Clowney, in the game that he has played, he provided little to nothing, as he only recorded 5 tackles, but no tackles for loss and 0 sacks. Despite his little decline in the regular season and underwhelming playoff performance, the Texans decided to franchise tag Clowney, but the funny thing is that in a couple of months later, he will later be traded to the Seattle Seahawks for Jacob Martin, Barkevius Mingo, and a 3rd round pick. As in his tenure with Seattle, Clowney will regress mightily, as he will have an impressive 4 forced fumbles and 3 passes defended and an interception, but he will only have 3 sacks and 31 tackles with only 7 tackles for loss. It is simple. Clowney is simply not the player that he once was, and even in his time in Houston, where he was at his best, he still wasn't an elite overall player, because I don't think his presence on the field does not make the Texans all that much better. Because like I mentioned before in my earlier in the video, since Jadeveon Clowney didn't really play at all in the 2014 season due to injury concerns, the Texans were ranked as one of the top defenses in the NFL. So really, they didn't really need him, because where did he play? He was pretty much a neutral, even though he was in the game or put in the sidelines in the 2015 season. When he had his best year in his career in the 2017 season, the Houston Texans were ranked as the worst defense in the NFL. So it pretty much shows that Clowney was never that impactful nor as great as a player that everyone envisioned him to be. Especially, there were rumors of him getting a max deal during this offseason. Well, for one, he simply does not deserve a max deal whatsoever, and even his great play in the postseason while in Seattle, for which he recorded 1.5 sacks, 12 combined tackles, including 3 tackles for loss. That is not enough to say that he's a max player by any means. Seeing how this man did not make any impact to help the struggling Seattle's pass rush, plus his decline overall, pretty much shows that he's going towards an underwhelming and disappointing career. Because when you're comparing to his draft mates, you can make the case that he's not even a top 10 player in his draft class at all, especially his quick decline in the 2019 season. And look at how Aaron Donald, Devontae Adams, and Khalil Mack are by far top 3 in their position, even though Jadeveon Clowney was projected to be the best player in his draft class, for sure speaks volumes. And the thing about Clowney is that he relies heavily on his athleticism, because without his athleticism, he is about an average or below average player. He never really worked on his pass rush moves like the rest of the elite players in his position. The reason why Aaron Donald is so deadly on defense is because He has so much athleticism and his pass rush moves are so lethal, and also he is strong as an ox. He can take on 2 or 3 offensive linemen at once and still finds a way to make a play, and not even him. Cameron Jordan, who isn't the most athletic defensive end in the world, but based on the pass rush setting, he is easily one of the game's best pass rushers because his pass rush moves are so fluid and polished, along with his strength too, gives him a huge advantage against opposing offensive linemen. Jadeveon Clowney has so much athleticism and talent in the world, but his athleticism is only going to take him so far because he never utilized it in the first place. Sure, he had 3 Pro Bowl level seasons, but it hasn't been enough to say that he has been an elite level player. And also adding the fact that he was very underwhelming in the postseason during his time in Houston, I really thought this man is going to be a cold ass dude coming into this league because he was for sure going to be picked number 1 after his dominant sophomore season in South Carolina. But as his career transpired, I knew otherwise, as Jadeveon Clowney would go down as one of the most disappointing, worst number 1 picks in the last decade. And that's the video. Thank you for watching my video. If y'all really liked this video, please give a like and subscribe to my channel for more NBA and NFL content, and make sure y'all click on the notification bell so that way y'all stay tuned to more videos in the future. Anyways guys, this is the A-Man Show signing out.